Welcome to the 700 Club. For today's top headlines, let's go over to the CBN News Desk.
Gordon, Christmas has come and gone, but the partial government shutdown is just getting started. It now appears to be headed into the new year and beyond. While most lawmakers went home for Christmas, President Trump spent his Christmas in Washington, spreading his message about the need for a border wall. Charlene Aaron reports.
Today marks the first full business day of the government shutdown. President Trump canceled his plans to go to Florida, staying in the White House over the Christmas holiday. In a Christmas Day video conference, President Trump said some federal workers support him in his fight for $5 billion in funding for the border wall.
Many of those workers have said to me and communicated, stay out until you get the funding for the wall.
The shutdown began at midnight Friday. About 25% of the federal government is closed, affecting an estimated 800,000 workers. Because it fell over the weekend and Monday and Tuesday were federal holidays, most government employees haven't felt the effects yet.
Wednesday is really the first day that this kicks in. The paychecks, importantly, will go out on the 28th. I want everybody to understand no one is working without getting paid. Paychecks go out on the 28th. The next pay period that is impacted is January 11th.
The administration is holding firm that the shutdown will continue until Democrats agree to wall off the U.S.-Mexico border. Since Congress isn't back in session until Thursday, some are predicting it could last well into January.
I think it's very possible that this shutdown will go beyond the 28th and into the new Congress.
Meanwhile, President Trump spoke to troops overseas on Christmas Day.
Well, I want to wish everybody a really Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Just remember, the people in our country, we're very proud of you.
He spoke by video conference to members of all 5 branches of the U.S. military, sending them his well wishes. Later, the President and First Lady sent Christmas greetings to the country.
During the Christmas season, we rejoice in God's many blessings. We come together with family and friends to spread hope, love, compassion, cheer, and goodwill. And we remember the events of one holy night more than 2,000 years ago.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
An 8-year-old child from Guatemala died early Christmas morning at a hospital while in the custody of U.S. authorities. The boy died at a New Mexico hospital after exhibiting fever, nausea, and vomiting. Earlier, immigration officials took note of his condition and brought the boy and his father to a medical center. He was later taken to a hospital, given antibiotics and ibuprofen, and released. But when the boy's condition worsened, the boy was taken back to the hospital where he died. The Border Patrol is now conducting medical checks on all children in its custody. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government is calling for early elections in April. That's 6 months ahead of schedule. Netanyahu said the time is right for early elections after the discovery of Hezbollah tunnels running from Lebanon into Israel. For 6 weeks, the current government has had a thin majority of 61 out of 120 Knesset seats. But latest polls show Netanyahu achieving a solid victory in the upcoming elections. Israel is facing more violence from Hamas terrorists in the West Bank. December has seen a rise in deadly terror attacks in that area. CBN News Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell has that story.
The Hamas prime minister in Gaza told chanting crowds that Palestinians in the West Bank are essential to their cause.
We place our hopes in the West Bank, which is the main area where events are occurring, and the most appropriate area to resolve the conflict with our Zionist enemy. Jerusalem is in the West Bank, and there are many targets in sight for the resistance.
His call for resistance comes just days after the murder of 3 Israelis in 2 drive-by shootings. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited the site of one West Bank attack where 2 soldiers were killed.
It's just a matter of time until we find this killer like we found the others. Palestinian terror will not uproot us from here. This place is the heart of our homeland.
Israelis want justice and action.
And those people murdered my grandchild just a few days ago, who hadn't even been born, and wounded my daughter, who nearly died, and my son-in-law. And this has to stop. We are a democracy. We respect freedom. And this cannot be tolerated anymore.
Netanyahu promised action.
We'll strengthen the settlements even more than we have until now, and we will take all the steps against terror. We will not tolerate terror from Gaza or from the West Bank. We will strike it forcefully.
The Gaza Prime Minister wants to meet with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas to agree on a national agenda for what he calls the coming phase. Palestinian affairs expert Pinkas Bari calls that a pipe dream.
Reconciliation with Hamas and Fatah will never happen. They won't, they try, but after every trial, the differences are bigger.
Some say the failure of the UN to pass a resolution condemning Hamas early this month, combined with the Israeli truce to stop rockets from Gaza, emboldened the group. Bari, however, says it's more likely this is part of a Palestinian power struggle because there's no one to replace the 83-year-old Abbas.
The connection might be that everybody understands that we are now at the end of Abu Mazen's era, and this might be a part on the contest of the succession.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Here at home, shoppers gave retailers their best holiday sales in 6 years. MasterCard reports that overall consumers spent more than $850 billion between November 1st and December 24th. That's up more than 5% from last year. And we'd like to remind you it's the end of the year and there's still time to give a tax-deductible gift by logging on to CBN.com.